The sands of the Sahara have swallowed animals, people, and entire cities for centuries. This is the largest desert in the world, and those who were careless enough to get lost on its endless sandy plains disappeared forever. It is known that in the ancient world, entire armies tried to cross this desert, and after that, no one ever saw them again. Only now, with the help of modern technology, are people beginning to uncover the secrets of the Sahara, of which there are surprisingly many. Hello, my friend. You're watching the Kirkirtop channel. Lost fortresses. Satellites have allowed researchers to look beneath the canopies of untouched, dense jungles and penetrate into the heart of the most inhospitable deserts. All this without leaving your comfortable chair. In 2010, satellites discovered the remains of more than 100 fortresses belonging to the ancient Garamantes people in Libya. This area was quite well mapped during oil exploration, when representatives of oil companies were looking for places to drill wells. Therefore, archaeologists were able to scan satellite images for telltale signs of walls. Later, researchers were able to confirm in person that the structures were indeed built by the Garamantes. Although the expedition had to be stopped because of the revolution in Libya, when Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown. During the heyday of the Garamantes, roughly from the 2nd century BC to the 7th century AD, the territory where they lived was already incredibly arid. To cultivate the land, they built underground canals that supplied water to ancient reservoirs. When these water sources dried up, the fields withered, and the Sahara buried the remains of the fortress and villages under the sand. Meteorites and craters. The Earth has always been bombarded by meteorites from space, most of them harmlessly burned up in the atmosphere, leaving nothing but a streak of light in the sky. Others reached the ground and had truly devastating effects. Since most of these disasters happened in the distant past, the craters left by meteorite impacts are often overlooked because erosion or plant growth hides them. However, in deserts, you can still see the scars left by impacts from visitors from space. For example, the Camille crater, which is 45 meters wide in southwestern Egypt, is the site where an iron meteorite fell about 5,000 years ago. Around the Camille crater, fragments of the meteorite itself, shattered by the tremendous impact with the ground, were found scattered across the sand. And this is not an isolated discovery. Almost 1/5 of all discovered meteorites have been found in the Sahara. Only the snows of Antarctica are more prolific in yielding ancient meteorites. Libyan desert glass. Even when the remains of meteorites and their craters have disappeared after thousands of years, other traces of cosmic collisions can remain. About 29 million years ago, a meteorite fell to Earth, releasing enough energy to melt a rather large area of the Libyan desert, turning the sand into sheets of thin green glass. The crater left by this explosion has not yet been found, but there is still plenty of desert glass which can be found even in some very unexpected places. When Howard Carter opened Tutankhamun's tomb, he discovered among the treasures a jeweled pectoral that belonged to the dead pharaoh. At its center was a sacred scarab beetle carved from green glass. Most likely the Egyptians had no idea about the origin of the glass they used. But interestingly, another artifact was found, also made from otherworldly material. One of the daggers in the tomb was crafted from meteoritic iron. The Nabta stones. Wherever water is found in the desert, life always emerges around it. When people lived near Nabta in southern Egypt 9,000 to 6,000 years ago, this area experienced annual floods, which resulted in the formation of a lake. Neolithic tribes came to this place to feed and water their animals. These people not only survived there, but also developed a unique culture of ritual sacrifice. Archaeologists found the remains of cows, sheep, and goats in a ritual burial. Around 6,000 years ago, people in Nabta erected large stone blocks in a circle. Scientists believe that this stone circle, which is 1,000 years older than Stonehenge, is the earliest known astronomical structure. There is still debate about what exactly this circle points to, but one researcher claims that it aligns with the position of Orion's belt as it appeared 6,000 years ago. The Sahara Desert did not always exist. As the climate changed over millions of years, The boundaries of the sands also shifted. Scientists who were searching for evidence of ancient water on Mars turned their attention to the history of the Sahara. Research has shown that at one time, a river flowed out of the Sahara with the 12th largest drainage basin in the world. The remnants of this river in Mauritania were noticed when an underwater canyon was discovered off the coast, which had been carved by the river's current. River deposits were also found in unexpected places. The presence of the lost river, which was named Tamanrasset, was finally confirmed with the help of a satellite. Researchers continue to look for more information about the body of water, which may have dried up only 5,000 years ago. Whales. It's not just rivers that disappeared under the sands of the Sahara. Over a very long period of time, what was once an ocean became one of the driest places on Earth. In Wadi el-Hitan in Egypt, you can find evidence of the long-lost Tethys Ocean. This place, known as the Valley of the Whales, is one of the best locations for discovering whale fossils. When the ancestors of modern whales died in the sea 37 million years ago, their bodies were covered by a thick layer of sediment. When the Earth's crust rose, their former home turned into land. Today, paleontologists study 15-meter-long skeletons, as well as the creatures that whales lived with in the sea. Very large shark teeth were found next to the whale bones. Machimosaurus rex. The seas have always been home to monsters. About 120 million years ago, the 9-meter-long crocodile Machimosaurus rex lived in what is now the Sahara Desert. Machimosaurus rex is the largest crocodile ever to live in the ocean. The area where this reptile once lived was probably a huge lagoon stretching to the Tethys Ocean. There, Machimosaurus hunted sea turtles and fish. This reptile probably also scavenged the carcasses of larger creatures. It may seem ironic that so much marine life has been found in the Sahara, but in fact, paleontologists make so many discoveries there precisely because the desert is extremely inhospitable to all living things. Since there are no plants or soil here, scientists can often make amazing discoveries right under their feet. Spinosaurus. Continuing the topic of marine discoveries made in the desert, it's worth mentioning Spinosaurus, the largest predatory dinosaur ever discovered by scientists. Living 95 million years ago, Spinosaurus, also known as Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, was about 7 meters tall and 16 meters long, which is bigger than the more famous Tyrannosaurus rex. Spinosaurus was nothing like its more famous competitor. It had a huge sail made of bones sticking out of its back, and a number of other adaptations that puzzled scientists. It is now believed that Spinosaurus is the only known semi-aquatic dinosaur. Since the bones of the originally discovered Spinosaurus were destroyed during World War II, it was only in 2014 in Morocco that other types of fossils were found, and researchers were finally able to study Spinosaurus. One of the pieces of evidence indicating that Spinosaurus lived partially in water is that its long, flat legs were well adapted for paddling, and its nostrils were located high on its snout, allowing the dinosaur to breathe even when most of its body was underwater. Surely the sight of the approaching huge sail on its back must have struck terror into the inhabitants of ancient seas, much like a shark's fin does today. World War II fighter Curtiss P-40 Kitty Hawk. On June 28, 1942, Sergeant Dennis Copping was flying a damaged Kitty Hawk P-40 to a British base in the desert for repairs. Somewhere halfway, he disappeared. It was only in 2012 that the remains of the plane were discovered when an oil worker accidentally stumbled upon them. The plane remained mostly intact, and it was delivered to the El Alamein Museum, where it was restored. Interestingly, no traces of Dennis Copping were ever found. His fate is yet another mystery kept by the Sahara. Gobero skeletons. Paul Sereno has already appeared on this list, as he was part of the team that found Spinosaurus fossils in 2012. It was during one of his trips for dinosaur bones that he accidentally found the largest human cemetery in the Sahara. The Gobero site in Niger was inhabited about 10,000 years ago, and at one time it was lush and green. The remains of fish, crocodiles, and other animals are mixed with human bones. Many of the discoveries were simply sticking out of the sand. In 2 years of excavations, about 200 human burials were found from 2 separate periods of habitation, separated by more than 1,000 years. These traces were left by the Kiphian and Tenarian cultures. Bone ornaments and bone arrowheads were found alongside harpoons that were used for hunting in the nearby waters. Many of the burials were very unusual. One person was buried with his head placed inside a pot, and another was resting on the remains of a turtle shell. We may never know exactly how these people lived and died. The Sahara stubbornly refuses to reveal all its secrets. This video has come to an end, but there are plenty of other videos on the channel that you can watch right now. Choose the one you like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, everyone.